share your message, please call the phone number provided as soon as possible. You will be guided through the review of what you have there. 5. We're back, and this is Rashawn with Matters of the Heart on Smooth 90.5 FM HD Radio. Don't forget to join us this coming Wednesday at 6 a.m. Central Standard Time for Matters of the Heart prayer call. That call-in number is 857-232-0156. That's 857-232-0156. And the code is 917-850. 917-850. Also, give us a call here. We'd like to talk to you. We'd like to hear from you today. If you have a question for one of our youth that are here or would like to speak with one of our youth, Alexandria, Christopher, and Caleb, please give us a call at 708-223-0030. That's 708-223-0030. I'm sure they would love to hear from you and dialogue with you today. So today we're dealing with our youth matters, matters that concern our youth, and who better to talk with than our youth. We have Caleb, who is 13. We have Christopher, who is 15, and we have Alexandria, who is 18. And they're giving some great feedback on today. In this segment, we're going to be talking about relationship building. We're going to be talking about social media and technology. So do you believe establishing and building relationships is important? Do you believe that establishing and building relationships is important? Anyone can answer that.
I think that having a relationship is good, because when I was growing up, like, I never had a father, so like it was hard for me to go to my father, like to go to a male person and to talk to.
Okay. So do you feel better now? Have you become more comfortable with?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Establishing and building relationships, is that important to you, Caleb?
Yes, it's very important, because you have someone to talk to, someone to lean on when you're like sad or you have something going on, and it just like builds a circle of trust.
Okay. Alexandria, do you believe that building relationships or establishing relationships is important?
I do think that establishing relationships are very important. I mean, there can also be pros and cons to it, but I feel like it could be good because, like Caleb said, you don't feel alone. You feel like you have a shoulder to lean on. You know, like you feel like you have somebody there, and it's like you just feel like you feel in comfort. Like you just don't feel like when you go different places. I feel like in school, like you don't have to have like friends, but let's just say acquaintances. Like those are relationships, you know, like because you don't feel like an outcast or you don't feel like anti-social or whatever. And I mean, it could be a good thing to kind of say to yourself, but then what happens when you don't feel like, when you feel like you don't have anything or nobody to talk to, or like when it's time to pick a partner in class, you know. And nobody should ever feel alone. Like, no, I feel like even adults, not even just youth, nobody should ever feel like they have no one or like they're alone. Because, like I said, relationships are very important.
All right, wonderful. All right, so this generation uses a lot of social media tools and technology to communicate, and we know that you all communicate well. But tell us how you handle conflict and what you think needs to change about the way social media is used to handle conflict.
I think that social media, it can be used in a good way, but a lot of people abuse that. Because even cyberbullying, I feel like it's gone up so much to the point where people just delete their whole social profiles. And I mean, life doesn't revolve around social media. I mean, for some people it does, but it shouldn't. Because social media shouldn't consume so much of our lives. And even me, it does, but that's something that definitely needs to change, because one day social media might not be there. And even if it is, I just think that we as a whole need to use it more effectively. Use it what it's for. I feel like the videos that we see now are getting out of hand. I feel like the posts that are being made to people are getting out of hand. And I feel like it needs to be more, it just needs to be more to it. There was a time when you couldn't even make a Facebook if you weren't a certain age. I mean, of course, a lot of people probably didn't tell the truth about their age, but I just feel like it needs to be more to making social profiles. It needs to be something
more restrictions.
Yeah, more. That's perfect. There needs to be a lot more restrictions than there are now. There are things where you could report something and it can possibly be taken down, but at the same time, maybe it needs to be more laws set where you can't do certain things, and not over dramatic rules, but something that needs to be done more than just the privacy settings on the social media.
Okay, Caleb, how do you feel about social media and how social media is used to communicate? Do you think that, let's ask you that question. How do you feel about communicating via social media?
I think it's a great way to just talk to people and post pictures and share your opinions and feelings. But there's tons of bullying going on, and it just really needs to be regulated a little more, because there's just a lot of people. There's been suicides sometimes because of bullying, and people feel like they can just say whatever they want on texting or pictures instead of saying it in real life, and it's pretty bad. But people can use it for the better. You can block different people. But there just needs to be a little bit more regulations on it.
Okay. Have you experienced any conflict yourself on social media?
I haven't experienced any conflict myself, because I only choose to just make good decisions about what I put on or what I text to somebody.
Okay. Have you seen anyone else experience conflict in social media?
Some of my friends have experienced conflict pretty badly, but it hasn't been any school issues, but they have experienced some conflict because people just feel like they can say whatever they feel like saying.
Okay. How about you, Christopher? Social media tools and technology to communicate. Do you communicate well with social media? Do you feel like you communicate well?
Yes, I do. I love Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. I love texting. I love that. But when you go on Facebook, you see texts, rude texts, and different types of videos on Facebook, and the parents should talk to their children and see what they're posting on it, because.
Do you think parents know what their children are posting?
Some parents don't, but they should know as a parent.
Okay. All right. Well, I think that social media gives they have very broad parameters. So if you don't include your parents in your social media profiles or on your social media sites, then how would your parents know what you're doing? How can they monitor what you're doing?
They should have your password, your username, and all that.
I agree. So tell us how you would handle conflict as it relates to social media.
If like someone texts me and like they go to the same school, I would like go to them and like talk to them and see what they're talking about.
Outside of social media?
Outside social media?
No, I mean, you saying if they attend your school, you would go and talk to them, meaning away from social media.
Yeah.
You wouldn't respond on social media.
Yeah, I would.
You would. But you would also go and talk to them in person.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Alexandria, how about you? Do you prefer social media to in-person conversations?
I do prefer more in-person conversations, but at the same time, sometimes when you think about in-person conversations, you have to think about not how you will react, but how they may react. You see, like, you can be one of those type of people that be like, okay, I could talk to you in person, we can have a civilized conversation, but other people may take that as a threat. And they may be like, they may feel like you're coming at them the wrong way. Some people may not like the way you're coming to them or coming at them or whatever. So I feel like there are certain extents to confronting them in person.
Okay. And Caleb, do you prefer social media over personal contact?
I do prefer social media sometimes, with more subjects that people could get more agitated about. But I would definitely talk to them in person first, because social media sometimes you don't get the right reactions, or you can tell that they're lying.
Okay, and with social media, if someone types something or writes something to you, you don't really know what the tone is. You can only see if they've written in all caps. You assume that they're yelling at you, or you don't really know what the tone is. So do you think it's better to reach out to that person and call them on the phone, or actually talk to that person in school or when you see that person?
People can get very angry when they see all caps and people yelling. So I think a better way to do it is just call them so they know your tone, you know how you're trying to talk to them. And if they think you're yelling or screaming, you could just talk to them in a nice tone.
Okay. Alexandria?
Well, now we have those things called emojis. So sometimes when you use emojis, and if you're using the proper type of punctuation, then you kind of can get an idea. But I guess you never really know unless you talk to them on the phone or in person. But I mean, if you're talking to somebody whose grammar and punctuation is on point, then maybe you actually will know.
Okay. Christopher, do you feel that social media is a hindrance or a help in relationships? Is it a hindrance or a help in relationships?
Sometimes it can be bad to be in a relationship and have Instagram and stuff like that, but sometimes it can be good to have.
Caleb, how about you? Do you feel that social media is helpful in relationships, or is it a hindrance? Or can it be a hindrance?
I think it's helpful if you use it the right way, because sometimes over text or social media it's easier to talk about things.
Okay. Alexandra?
I believe that it can be a hindrance, but it can also be a help. And as far as, because I know when you say relationships, it's not just like being in a relationship, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not just those intimate relationships. So I feel like for certain relationships, or depending on what relationship you're in or who it's with, I feel like it can be a help, but then sometimes it can be a hindrance, because sometimes people may go to social media rather than going to the source. And that's where conflict comes in, and then that's when you have to go back to trying to resolve it and stuff. And conflict can be good because it can actually, it's all about how you go about the conflict. Like, conflict can be good because it can resolve a lot of things that were unsaid before. and not even just things that's going on in that particular situation. Like, it can bring up things and fix things that were messed up before. So it can be of help and it can be a hindrance.
Okay. Have you experienced any peer pressure from using social media? Christopher, have you experienced any type of peer pressure by using social media? Or have you seen, if you haven't, have you seen friends of yours who may have experienced peer pressure?
No, I really haven't had peer pressure on social media. I see